Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Life can be challenging, that's a fact. But life is good, life is good. I never really thought that I could see myself in the light so highly. I turned 30, a reflection of the God in me. Devil plays on the idle mind, I don't mind. Got shit to do for me and mine, I ain't got time. Be grateful for your life, don't be misunderstood. Every day that you wake up, life is good. Set your attention, pay attention and make the change. The bad for the good, just rearrange. When it comes to life, praise He the Most High. See your life transform, you ain't gotta ask why. Life is good, life is good. Hey, life is good, life is good.
Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are here with another episode of the Life is Good podcast. I am joined today by this handsome fella here, Gedo.
How you doing?
So thank you guys for listening to the podcast as usual. I'm so grateful for you guys, each and every single person. I'll be even more grateful, you know what I'm saying, if you just go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on any and all listening platforms that you listen to this on. And while you're there, go ahead and comment. And while you're doing that, won't you go follow me on Instagram at Life is Good Podcast. And you can follow me, Breezy, the artist, spelled exactly like it says. Nothing funky, nothing fancy. Gedo, where can they follow you?
Go follow the product line at Wolfen Products, WOLFN Products, at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That's about it. And the website, wolfenproducts.com. We're on our way to that. We get some shorts together for TikTok.
Ooh, the TikTok going crazy. Well, who are you?
I'm the owner of the Wolfen CBD products and muscle relief gel. It's aloe vera based, and we're just here for natural healing. So like I said, it's aloe vera based. It's for muscle relief, and we also have a massage pod for deeper individualized times. You be on the go.
Yeah, my mom swears by this stuff. You guys have heard me. If you've been rocking with the podcast for a while, it's one of the brands that I used to always shout out at the end of the podcast. And so now we have the man himself here, Mr. Gedo. Also, my favorite cousin in the entire world. So excited to have him here. Oh, gosh, I'm such a dork. All right, so we're talking about this week, okay, delusion versus faith. Oh, my goodness. What a slippery slope that can be. All right. So, of course, always the best thing for me is always to define so we can make sure we're on the same page, because my definition of things may be a little different. So the definition of delusion I have is a belief or altered reality that is persistently held despite evidence or agreement to the contrary, generally in reference to a mental disorder. Okay. And then we have faith, which is confidence in what we hope for and the assurance that the Lord is working, even though we cannot see it. Amen. Amen. Do you agree with that, with those definitions?
I do.
You want to put a spin on any of them? Add anything to it?
No, not right now. That's cool. That's good.
Thank you.
Natural.
Thank you. I came up with those definitions myself. Okay, I didn't. So my faith, I like to say, is based on God's plan and trusting that even if things do not go my way, that I know there's a bigger, broader plan out there, because of course God's plan is always better than mine. What's that? How does that saying go? If you want to make God laugh, just tell him what you got planned. He gets a chuckle out of me all the time. And then an example of that would be, of course, having faith.
I never heard that.
You never heard that before?
Never heard that quote before.
If you want to hear God laugh, tell him what you got planned.
Yeah, I never heard that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I heard Loretta Devine say it, and I think this Christmas. And then, of course, being delusional is you just be... I feel like delusion is more of... okay, so the example that I have for faith is you really want a job, right? So you got this job in mind. You about to work for a Fortune 500 company, let's say Dunder Mifflin, right? So you're working for Dunder Mifflin. It's a Fortune 500 company. It's got all these great benefits, great environment. The people are great. You just like, this is my job. So what happens? You don't get the job. So you start to question your life, your existence. You probably get mad, have a whole shit show, but it's just like you have to believe that there's something better out there for you. And to me, that's where kind of delusion and faith kind of come in, because faith is having faith that no matter what the outcome is that God got your back, versus when you're delusional, you kind of put it in one particular, like, oh no, yeah, they didn't answer me, but they probably will. And it's like, ain't nothing wrong with keep saying that, but if all the evidence is stacked up that that maybe this one isn't for you, they can even come right out and tell you this isn't for you. And sometimes when you have to move around, just realize, you know what, maybe this ain't for me, but it's not necessarily a bad thing.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So, yeah.
It's true. Faith is patience. That's how I feel, because you know you got to pray on something and wait on something, right? And then waiting, we don't know what that's all questionable, and then we start to question it when it's not on our timeline, like you were saying. So ultimately, I just feel this patience is like, you know, putting the seed in the ground, watering it. You gotta wait till it grow, like, but you don't know what's gonna happen in that transition. Something might happen and knock it over, knock the roots out, and now you don't know, or something. You don't know something may happen, and you have to start over. Some people might not have the wind to start over sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, based off how strong they faith is or whatever. So, yeah.
Do you have an example of what a situation that'll be delusional?
Delusional?
Yeah.
I feel like it's just some factual things that you're kind of making up on your own. Like somebody tell you you got a job, then they tell you don't have a job, but you're acting as if you're going to get the job after you've been told you don't have the job.
Yeah.
You know, you're being delusional now because you want it so bad. Or like, it's for me though. I know they, you know, it's like when you're doing something and you want it so bad, it's like everything that happens, you start being like, you start looking at it a little different. You know, that's not true. You're being optimistic to the wrong at that point. You know, you're opening up to the wrong thing. Like, I know you don't want me right now, but I'll wait till later. Like, nah, it's never gonna happen. You're being delusional right now. You know.
You talking about me? No, I feel it. I felt that in my heart. Okay, because of course, if you guys have listened. I felt it. What is it? If the shoe fits, then wear it. Well, I'm wearing this motherfucker. Let me lace it up real quick. So, a great example, of course, delusion for me would be my ex-boyfriend, right? So, I was so wrapped up in the fact that this was going to be my husband. Who told me it was going to be my husband? Nobody told me it was going to be my husband. And I was just believing it so much that he was going to be my husband. You guys heard from him on last season of the podcast. But I was just so wrapped up in the fact that, oh no, this is going to be my boyfriend now. He done stepped out. He done had babies. He in a whole nother relationship. He's literally sometimes even said, you know, this ain't it. But no, still, I have faith is what I thought it was, that this is going to work out. And it's like, yeah, the faith was not in him. The faith was in knowing that God is going to deliver you a husband, but nobody said it was him. So I was delusional for years, holding on to this thought that this was the one. Not even that this could be the one, that this was the one. So it's like that faith, that's the faith in that delusion. It's like, it's a very thin line. It's a very thin, thick line.
It is. It's true. It's like a line that got depth to it.
Yeah.
It's like got layers to this one little line. It's when you see it, it's a line, but when you look to this, at it, it's like it's deep. It's layers. Yeah, and that's what it is. Because you gotta like tap into what's gonna work for you and what's making you happy. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. Well, I hope that you're away from that.
Oh, y'all see this glow? Y'all see all this weight loss?
Okay,
y'all
on to the next. So,
okay, like first of all, let me be there. I'm glad to be moved on from the past.
Okay, that's what I just said. On to the next.
Okay, whatever.
So,
anywho, yeah. It's just saying, it's a very thin line, and sometimes, I don't know. It's like sometimes things can seem delusional to other people, but they're right for you. That's why sometimes you have to hold on to your peace sometimes. But you have to be real with yourself. And actually, that's where checking yourself comes in. Check yourself. Sometimes you really have to go in and just be like, wait a minute. Let me just reevaluate the situation. Write it down if you need to. And sometimes, even like me, it takes some time. But it don't got to take that much time if you actually just check yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a matter of checking.
Too. You gotta act on whatever it may be do, because you might have faith for something that becomes a delusional based off of how you acted on it. Mm-hmm. So you might bring a certain type of spirit back that it become delusional now because you wasn't acting on it in the right way for it to be just acting off faith per se.
Right.
You know, so yeah, it's all tricky. And that's why we have to stay mentally healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why they say that delusion is connected to a mental disorder, because you have to make sure your mental space is right. And during those times where I was finding myself delusional, my mental space, I don't want that to fall. My mental space was not necessarily where I needed it to be. So it was easier for me to be delusional because mentally I was delusional about my life.
Yeah.
And it'd be crazy. Like I remember in 2012 when I was in college. No, my father passed away. Then I decided to go back to school, and I was in school, and I thought I was doing fantastic in school. I knew that I was missing paperwork, was missing classes, messing up on tests, but in my head, I was doing great.
You was in school.
I was doing great. Then grades came out, and I was failing 2 other classes. And I was like, how the hell was I fail? I was delusional. I refused to accept reality or what was really going on. So you have to, again, if I would have sat there and checked myself, I would have realized, like, yo, what makes you think that you're going to be getting A's or even passing the class if you half-assing everything?
Yeah.
Another, of course, example would be, you guys see that I have kind of lost my weight, got myself together. I used to have this idea of this perfect guy in my head. Physically, I knew how he looked. Mentally, I knew how he looked. Everything, I knew how he looked. But it's just like, I wasn't necessarily... And some people may not even like the way this sounds, and I really don't care. But I had to realize that, like we were talking about, these people were out of my league. And that sounds harsh. It sounds mean. It sounds rude. Because, of course, we live in a world where you can't be truthful without people getting upset. But, of course, I got upset because somebody brought it to my attention. And I had to realize that somebody being out of my league does not mean that they were in a better league or a worse league than me. It just means they were out of my league. How can you expect a man to be in shape, have physically fit, always working out on the go, and that was not a part of my life? Like, I did not live a healthy lifestyle. I wasn't working out at all, but I wanted a man that had that. Then I wanted a man who, had his own shit, all his shit put together, but my shit wasn't together. So that's being delusional. It's like, can you get a man like that? Absolutely. You can absolutely get a man like that. But what are you, at that point, that's when they say, what are you bringing to the table?
That's the check. That's the check at that point. Like, oh, I gotta check myself. Okay, so I want this. What can I do for this? What is gonna benefit what I want once I come to the equation? So, yeah, at least some people are grown, old, and delusional.
That's because you gotta get that mental health in order, man.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. You gotta eat right, gotta stay prayed up. Find a way to do find some type of closure in your mental. I know that's hard and that sounds crazy, but just find a way. I don't know what it is. Some people, obviously the vices is when they come in, but, find a way to find a medium with that to find some peace in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how, I don't know the remedy to that, but I know that I feel like that's a good piece to find peace within your mind, because we thinking about bad stuff all day in our brain, worse circumstances, just because of what's going on in the world. And I feel like we paranoid all day in our mind. So it's like, that's already trash.
Expecting the worst all the time.
We're already expecting the worst all the time. So we going to always, because we trying to prepare to get out of it because of what we seeing every day. And we feeling like it's getting worse. So that's not helping it. You know what I'm saying? And, I feel like if we all just set aside a time to find peace in our brain, some people obviously call it like yoga and, meditating and stuff. Whatever it is.
That brings you peace.
A positive peace, though. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Because some people peace is bad. Hurt people. You feel me?
Yeah, that's
true.
So
I might feel good by talking down on you right now.
That brings you peace.
That'll bring me my peace right now.
Temporary peace, but it's still a peace.
Ultimately, I'm going through something mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my peace. I reach for some negative to get my peace. That's bad. You're not happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's deep. It's layers to that thin line. You feel me? It's layers to that thin line. So, it's like, that's how I look at life, and we all should just find a way. I don't know how to answer to that. That's the big question for everybody. How do you find peace in your mind? Because they putting out stuff that we're supposed to find peace with, and it don't. So,
money, bodies, men,
even down to like we talking about like it's hard. Like doing yoga, I know that's part of doing yoga and meditating. That's part of it. Finding that peace, that peace. But it's hard because over time, obviously, everybody hasn't grasped that, right? Because society has cluttered our brain with so much. So it's like whatever else you could do to find a positive peace in your brain.
People are actually doing the acts, but they're not really doing the mental work that goes with it.
Exactly.
So I know that I'm unhappy, so I decide to go do yoga. And instead of actually
figuring yoga.
Like, what does yoga mean? Exactly. I'm just in the class, like,
stretching, tired,
taking pictures, posting them on Instagram. I'm doing yoga now instead of actually putting in the work. I got a question for you. How do you check yourself? What are some of the questions that you ask? How do you check yourself?
Be humble. When I was a kid, I had an uncle. My favorite uncle would always tell me certain things. And obviously, like you said, being harsh is hard.
What his name be, James?
Uncle James. Yeah. Rest in peace. But he would say a couple things to me in certain times, you know. 2 things specifically. He would always tell me to be humble. And sometimes he'd tell me I wasn't shit. Like, sometimes he'd tell me I ain't shit. When I was at my peak, though, I look fly as a bitch. He'd be like, you ain't shit. You know, now I'm saying all that to say some people take that the wrong way because if I had confidence in myself, me looking at the peak at that moment and him shutting me down would obviously constantly take me down if I'm not happy with myself, right?
Right.
But we had a relationship. I understood that wasn't that. To me, that was a humble. Like to answer your question, is to know that somebody's worse. It's to just know that to know like. You could look in your 360 and just know that somebody's worse than you. So, but in order for you to be good, you have to reach back, and so you're only strong as your weakest link. So to know that I have the strength that other people don't is what get me through my stuff. Like to know that some people tell me like, I couldn't live your life. People say that, I couldn't live your life. We all have our own story. You know what I'm saying? So that's my piece with that. To know like, man, I done seen some things. I done seen some people in worse detriment situations to me that's not even to be in my position to have my problems. The problems that I have that's making me who I am or giving me... Some people don't have that resource to even get there. You know what I'm saying? Some people die depressed and broke.
Right.
With no way, no feeling, nobody around them to help. So I understand that that's different for me. And that's my peace with that. That's how I check myself. Like, you could be worse off for sure. For sure, because you're looking at it. Like, it's not no act. We don't have to go to Africa to see. You feel me? Over east and south side, west side, all that. We don't have to.
We can go right down the street, look out the window.
So it's like, I'm looking at homeless people. I'm looking at homeless people with situations. I'm looking at veterans that's homeless. And it's like, man, I could be a veteran that's homeless.
Thank you for your services.
Thank you. But, yeah, that's how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? I understand. It's a true feeling. You could be worse off.
And that's how you check yourself. And let yourself know. So
how do you check yourself?
How do I check myself? I check myself by asking questions. And one of the questions that I ask myself is, what's my intentions? Like, that'll always help me check myself, is what are your intentions? And then from that, I can find some purity in that. And sometimes, no lie, my intentions don't necessarily be 100% pure. So if I'll have to ask myself, okay, well, why do you really want it? And if my intentions are not pure, then it lets me know that's not really something that I want. Or if I know that it's something that I want, I'll try to see, okay, well, maybe all of my intentions are not 100% pure, but is there anything in there that's pure? Like, what else is it in there? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just check my intentions. Check, like, why is it that you want to do this? And from there, I can kind of decide if it's a good move, it's a bad move, if it's just a hobby, or if it's something that really needs to be pursued based off how I'm moving. I move with intentionality and purpose.
Okay. I got another question there. So what do you feel confirms what's faith to you compared to a delusion? Outside of the reality of it happening, like, what do you can consider, like, okay, if you don't get what I'm saying.
No, I get you.
Oh, yeah, that's it then. Like, what do you...
Well, that's where it comes in, where just me saying that my faith is based in God's plan. So I'll know if I'm being, like, not saying I know I'm being delusional if I put if there's a certain situation. It's not the situation or the person that I'm reaching or gravitating for. It's the overall picture. Like, if I know I want a new job, or if I know there's something that I want to go after, I'm not going to be like, okay, well, I need to be in Essence magazine, or I need to win an Emmy. It's like, I want to win an award. And it's just like, whatever God lands me in there, I know that was where I needed to be, versus putting so much power and faith in one.
The Emmy.
Yeah, like one particular like that. No, it's this.
Yeah.
The big picture.
I want to be around this.
Yeah.
So I can touch that. Yeah, that's the levels, I guess, and that take time. That's the mountain we climb, to get to the top. And everybody trying to figure it all out. And we got people around us that's supporting it or not supporting it. And, we getting our feelings. Like I said, we in crying times right now. So it's hard to decipher who real. It's hard to decipher who, like, that's honestly, it's really just that, the truth. Because, perfect example, right now we got a pandemic going on and people could lie about having vaccine.
Yeah.
Like, the truth of natural people right now is on the rocks just for surviving.
Mm-hmm. Survival make people do some questionable things.
Yeah, we self-preservation. You know what I'm saying? And people out in the world going places without the vaccine and stuff just because they tired of wearing the face mask.
Yeah.
Not being truthful, just naturally off the fly. Like, nah, I got the vaccine.
You got an extra vaccine card. Like,
right,
get the...
If ultimately, like, so the delusion to that, that's a delusion to make somebody feel that way. Like, because at that point, somebody not getting the vaccine based off of faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a delusion to lie about something that you really just put backing up based off your faith.
And it just went deep.
It did. But it really did. But, But
I get you.
You know what I'm saying? Just off of that. And that's in itself. Like, somebody's lying about it to survive.
Yeah.
That's a delusion. Because you shouldn't be doing that, right? Based off of what society is supposed to be. Like, we're supposed to be able to have our choice. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go against my faith right now and be delusional for survival.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like...
It just went really deep. I had to jump down
really
there.
Did. I'm sorry,
I had to
y'all.
concentrate in my brain so I could jump.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. No, it's really funny that you brought that up even with people because I've been so grateful and the people that I've been meeting recently. I worked with this girl yesterday and I had to thank her for being exactly who she said she was. Because so many times in life and especially in my industry, you meet people and they're not who they say they are. There's a lot of Hollywood talk or there's a lot of different things. And I had to thank her. And I was just like, man, I wasn't coming in contact with this many people. And I had to realize, I'm finally showing up as the person that I said that I was. So when I wasn't showing up, I was meeting more people who wasn't showing up as well. And that's another thing with delusional. Because in my head, I was exactly the person that I thought I was. But I was not. Like, oh, I'm a person who likes to be on time. Well, you 10 minutes late. Oh, I'm a person who stands on morals. You just broke all of your morals.
Codes,
it's just like you keep on saying that you're delusional about this person that you want to be. That doesn't mean that you can't become that person, but you're not that person yet.
You could be lost in the act of transitioning it. The act, because that's all you have to act on it and believe it has to become a lifestyle. And that goes back to being healthy mentally and all that, because these things are affecting our thought process.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's deep and it's controlled. You know what I'm saying? Little or big way of us knowing it, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you don't want to live like this, YouTube,
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be like this under these circumstances in life when we're supposed to be happy and all that. So
y'all know one of my favorite things to say is you don't have to fake it till you make it. Just make it.
It's just a statement.
Just actually, and that's the conclusion pretty much of the faith versus delusion.
You don't have to.
You don't have to be delusional. You can literally have faith and move in these things. But for me, my advice is to just kind of move away from objects and move into the space, if that makes sense. Don't put it, like they say even with church. People be like, oh, I don't go to this church because I don't like the pastor. Okay, that works too. However, I don't put my faith in man. I put my faith in God. So yeah, this pastor may not 100% be living right.
But he gave you something that you needed.
There's something that you can grab because he's still human, he's still flesh. Right. So I don't put my faith, especially if it's a Bible-based church. Yeah. I ain't putting necessarily my faith in you. You're just the messenger.
Yes.
Because sometimes messengers look all different types of ways, but they're just delivering a message.
And too, to caveat off that, I feel like, because one of the narratives is the young generation don't go to church, right? I feel like that's a big part of it, between them not knowing what the difference between the delusion and the faith is, because you might have a pastor that's living a certain way. It's a delusion, but you're not showing the faith. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're showing the lifestyle, which is a delusion to this kid who has nothing compared to you in reality, but you're trying to preach faith.
Because we live in a world instant gratification.
If I'm coming from nothing And I come into this place, this church. First thing I see is an ATM. You got a Benz outside, and it looks like this more materialistic than just bringing myself, right? So then you get in here, and people may be trying to dress a certain way because it's a classification now. You know, when you ain't got as much, when the collection plate come around, this is a thing that's happening. So it'll deter somebody from showing up.
Yeah.
Because you feel you don't know the difference between that delusion and faith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're in the house where they're supposed to be giving you an example of faith. But the people in here are delusional.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, and
I went with you. You saw me. I
You
jumped right behind you.
Yeah, but, you know, and I go to church. And obviously, I'm younger and having this conversation with older people in church. And what their definition for that reason is not really what they understand. It's not that. Because we know it ain't necessarily come as you are, come with your baggy pants, and you go to the club, you come to church. Like, yeah, that's been around. But it's deeper now because we got to live. So these kids that go to the clubs and stuff, they probably could touch something in the club faster than they would in church. Based off of faith and the reality of gaining something in the club, whether it's a girl, opportunity, whatever it may be. And church is going to church to get your money and pray and hope that something come back from you. It's a delusion.
And that sounds fucked up. Yeah,
you know, it becomes a delusion if it's not a reality for you because we not understanding the difference in the faith and the delusion of the acts. So, yeah.
I was just grabbing this for my quote.
Oh. wolfandproducts.com. If you guys want to get muscle relief gel, aloe vera based. If you guys know anything about CBD, if you do, if you don't, go on the website. We will inform you. We have the Q&As. And everything else. And also we have updates every day on Instagram. So come check us out, man.
And these products are faith. This is not a delusion. This is not delusional.
This is an act for sure.
This is an
act.
I'm telling you, my mom swears by this. She has arthritis and she be having a lot of pains and she puts it on and she rubs the ball and she swears by it. I think she recruited a few people.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, if you guys are having pains, you know, you're an athlete in shape like I am, you know, it's a really good product to have. So make sure y'all check them out. So in conclusion, y'all, just check yourself to see if it's faith versus delusion. And you don't need a lot of times you don't need nobody to tell you if it's faith versus delusion. You know. So y'all know I like to always end with a quote. And the quote today is, "The world is new to us every morning. This is God's gift, and every man should believe he is reborn each day." Which is why we say each and every single day that we wake up, life is good.
Life is good. Life is good.
You know, I never really thought that I could. Thank y'all for rocking out with us again. You've been here with Breezy the artist and
Gedo.
Until next time.